Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Liam Crafton Jr., aka Zorvalchan Less Than Guru, and today I would like to propose why you may want to change the category of the OCCs in your Palladium game. So if we look at the main book here, the occupational character classes, the OCCs, I just call them occupations. Other places might just call them character classes. But you'll see that they are men of arms, men of magic, clergy, and optional. So the first thing that I want to point out is that your roguish type characters, your thief, your assassin, perhaps even the ranger, those are considered men of arms. And men of arms gain an advantage in Palladium first edition, which I fully support in that they get automatic parries. Whenever they're attacked, normally if you wish to parry the act of defense, it takes one of your attack. But if you are a man of arms, then you can do it for free. You still, if you want to dodge, you have to spend an action. The question there is whether or not that is the hand-to-hand skill or being a man of arms. To clarify, here we have a soldier. They are a men of arms and they are trained in hand-to-hand soldier. But there are various priests who gain hand-to-hand soldier. So you will have to determine, does that mean that this priest gets the automatic parry? For me, I said no. I wanted that to be special for the men of arms. So the clergy still get the bonuses, but they're going to have, such as the priest is still going to get that a bonus if they are in hand-to-hand, but they're not going to get that automatic bonus. Also, a thing that's kind of strange, or it hit me as strange, is we look at men of magic. We have wizard, spell magic. That makes sense. They're studious. They learn. The diabolist and the summoner. That makes sense. They're studious. They have to learn how to do their circles. They have to learn how to do their symbols. The weird ones are the witch, the warlock, and the mind mage to me, because the clergy are getting their powers from some higher power, some divine form. If you look at that, the witch who gets their power through devil or demon lords, that seems more of a clergy to me. They're getting a power. It's not really a men of magic. They're not studying anything. They're granted the power. The same with warlocks through elemental magic. And then mind mages are all in your head using your psychic abilities, which fall along the line of the healer. Why the healer is a clergy when all of their healing is innate ISP, inner strength points that they use to heal. They don't necessarily have to follow a deity. So I was looking at these things, and what I decided was to break up my men of arms into men of arms and rogues, and then rearrange the magic classes. And then later books, you get things like entertainers, your bards, your acrobats, your tumblers, your prestidigitators, gladiators, which are kind of a men of arms / magic. And then in Yinsloth Jungle, you get things like the Witch Hunter and the Undead Hunter, which I don't use because I think they're a little OP for Palladium First Edition. But you do get things like the Holy Crusader, the Bounty Hunter, that kind of fit into that men of arms type thing, except for the Holy Crusader, because they get some spells and such like clergy do. So what I did, we go to my breakdown, is I have my men of arms, which are the bounty hunter, the knight, the longbowman. I combined the mercenary and sailor. That was something that when I was doing them both separately, they had the same requirements. They had mostly the same skill set. It's basically the mercenaries are on land and the sailors are on water. So basically, I just gave a little choice. Do you want to go towards land or do you want to go to water? And made it one OCC, again, reducing redundancies. And then for my rogues or my assassins, my pirate, my ranger, my spy, and my thief. The pirate is from Adventures of the High Sea, and it didn't quite go along with that mercenary sailor or the soldier, so I added that to rogues. And the spy is very close to thief, but different enough that I left it. And that is also, I believe, from the Yinsloth Jungle books. Then I have my entertainers, acrobat, bard, gladiator, prestidigitator. My academics are my studious ones, which are the mystic scholar. I took the monk of the second book, Old Ones, and allowed them to actually not be pacifists. They do have a pacifistic choice if they wish to go, but in my world, I don't have the old ones that magic is going to destroy the world. So I allow them to learn spells, but not quite as good as a wizard, but they can get some defenses against spells. Again, I combine my Diabolist and my Summoner into the Symbologist. Sword Mage was a class, a warrior sword person that also cast magic spells that I really, really loved from D&D 4th edition. So I incorporated it. And then I have what I call my Intuits, the ones who gain their powers through their own self-knowledge. And so that would be an Adept, which is very similar to the Mystic and Psy-Mystic from Rifts and Palladium 2nd edition, where they learn both psychic abilities and magic users. The Beastmaster, the Healer, the Illusionist, the Mind Mage, that all I have as the Intuits. If they use any type of magic ability, that's ISP, whereas academics use MP. And then Clergy, I also have as magic points. And that's where my witches I call beloved to fit my lore. But the cleric isn't in Palladium, but they have shaman, but they're really, really close to priest. And I wanted something kind of between a warrior priest and a priest, a book priest, and what I have as the Paladin. The Paladin is my combination of the Palladium 1st edition Paladin and Holy Crusader. If we go back here, there is a Knight and the Paladin, and the only difference is the Paladin has a 3-point greater need for IQ and 2 points for PS, and everything's pretty much better. It's basically if you rolled really well and could be a Paladin, you're going to choose your Paladin instead of your Knight. There are very, very minor differences, like the Paladin will gain an extra, at the 15th level, you'll get an extra point of damage, which I think the Knight might get an extra point of parry and dodge, but everything else for the Paladin is slightly more. So I did, again, redundancy. So I took the Holy Crusader, I gave their spell abilities at a 5th level to the Paladin, very much like the D&D Paladin, that at later times they gain levels in old school D&D, and I put them as clergy. And then I still have a few of the optionals if you with lower IQ, and the peasant / blah 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 I just made into a commoner with no attribute requirements, because even here you can have a peasant that requires a PP of 7. There are some of these that you could roll so bad, even the witch with an IQ of 5, you could roll so bad that you can never be any occupational character class. So that was one of the things that I did want to change, because in my game, we are in some ways going that old school. It's the roll straight down the line, no re-rolls, no extra dice, getting rid of the lower dice. It's just you roll and you go. So everybody can get something. And with the commoner, they are the only occupation that I have that allows you to increase your attributes. So if you're low in commoner, you can work towards increasing your attributes, so then you can switch into a different occupation. What this allowed me to do is look at the men of arms, keep them with the automatic parry. For my rogues, instead of getting an automatic parry, they get an automatic dodge, because I think that's more roguish. And what the difference to make men of arms better, to make them better and more durable and mitigating things in combat damage, is if they fail their automatic parry, they can spend an action to dodge. So they kind of get a double chance, whereas a rogue, you can spend an action to parry and an action to dodge, or you can forgo your parry altogether and just dodge automatically. So again, a little choice, and it allows my men of arms and my rogues to be a little bit different. The entertainers, the gladiator, I made them more of an entertainer. I gave them a specific mechanism that isn't quite an automatic parry, but if they use the paired weapons, they can get that functionality out of it. And my mystics, my intuits, my clergy, for the most part, they don't get automatic. So as I talked about earlier, is that soldier, they get the automatic parry, whereas the priest, who happens to have hand-to-hand soldier, doesn't. Since paladin is and cleric I have is more of martial, For the cleric, I do the opposite of the rogues, which they can get an automatic parry, but if they do that, they don't get that second chance as a dodge. And for the paladin, they get an automatic parry, but they must use a shield to do so. So I did little tweaks to make those martial type classes that fit in the other categories kind of fit both and give the overall benefit to the men of arms. The one men of arm things that I did differently is the longbowmen. I gave them an automatic dodge instead of the automatic parry, because if they're holding their bow, they're going to need to dodge. So you might want to adjust things like that. But that's a good reason why you might want to look at these lists. And in the others, they don't necessarily give those lists or what category it goes to. And then you can kind of summarize where things go. And like I said in my why you might want to use shock points, then you can start doing it where the majority of men of arms, I'm giving them 8 bonuses, plus 8 to their shock points to make them a little sturdier. Rogues usually get a plus 6. The entertainers get a plus 4. Academics, intuits don't. Clergy, depending on what they are, the cleric and paladin might get a plus 4 or plus 6 bonus. Maybe even the paladin, I gave the full plus 8. But you're able to tailor and give each occupational character class some type of bonus or no bonus to those shock points. Or if you just want to use hit points, give them a bonus to hit points. Make them fit their role a little bit better than somebody who happened to roll well and is trying to get the best of all worlds. So having said that, I am Lehman Crafton Jr., a.k.a. Zorval Chan, and until next time, I will catch you later.